Wow, what's that?
The round hay garden scene, the early set surviving film.
Wow, that's cool. But I don't think that culture really has an effect on that.
That is correct. In fact, throughout the 19th century, film is mostly a novelty in and of itself, and it is not until 1906 that film is fully changed to portray commercial content. Even after that, film's development existed almost outside of culture, thriving off technological innovations rather than cultural ones.
Well, not to disrespect, but I need to show how culture affects film.
If that's all you're after, you don't need to worry, there's hardly a shortage of cultural effects on film. This film, for example, was released by Disney in the World War II era.
Ha, this is a good one. Donald Duck the Nazi.
Yes, but did you ever stop to appreciate the implications of this cartoon? I can tell you it's more than just a joke on Donald Duck.
Well, that's obvious. Anyone can see it's meant to show how the Nazis used propaganda to control people during World War II.
You'd call it propaganda?
Yeah, I guess. It's information spread to support the interests of a nation, right?
I guess it stands to reason then that this film itself is propaganda as well, correct? Don't be afraid of a word, this film definitely falls neatly into your own definition of propaganda. Am I wrong?
I guess it just never occurred to me before.
Never take anything at face value, analyze who the speaker is and what they want you to think. Don't worry, I'm not trying to get you to overthrow the American government, just trying to help you get an education.
Well, even so, this isn't exactly hard to figure out. I mean, I get that it's propaganda. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but how is this an effect of culture on film?
You could say the strong anti-Nazi sentiment brought about by the Second World War is a part of America's culture, and that in turn created this film.
Oh, now I get it. But are all culture's effects on film that easy to find?
See for yourself.
Oh, it's the War of the Worlds. But what does an army of invading aliens have to do with world history?
That's up to you to decide. What do you know about the 1950s, the time period this movie made in, that would cause a movie like this to be created?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the Cold War, which caused fear and paranoia to spread across America.
Go on.
So I guess the invading alien armies represent the threat of communism invading.
Exactly. What about this one?
The Crucible, huh? But wait, this wasn't released in English until 1996.
Nevertheless, the original playwright written by Archer Miller is a part of film's history. But if you want to get technical, there was a Franco-East German film made in 1957.
That's better, but yeah, I get it. Rather than making anti-communist material, Arthur Miller wrote this, The Crucible, in response to the paranoia sweeping through Hollywood, causing people to essentially lose their jobs for lack of work at the hand of the House of Un-American Activities, which was formed by Senator Joseph McCarthy because of the communist scare.
Now that wasn't too easy, was it?
No, but is content really the only thing culture influences? I mean, doesn't actual film style get altered by it as well?
Not usually, in the sense you are thinking of, but think of it this way. When an idea must be presented, it must be presented in a certain way, correct? Basically, the film style used to represent an idea, become a part of film in the future. Take the War of the Worlds. It was presented in a science-fictional narrative, right? Well, let's say that without War of the Worlds, science fiction and narratives wouldn't be as popular as they were, then we would have lost out on a lot of good science-fictional narratives.
But War of the Worlds wasn't the first science-fictional, or narrative, or even the first to combine the two.
But that's not the point. It didn't need to be first to affect the development of such film styles. But it was one of the most popular of its kind, and that is what made it have such a huge effect.
Well, I didn't know that film was affected by culture in so many ways on so many levels. I guess finding the connections is easy with a little historical know-how. But can you use that skill to predict where the future of film is headed?
Anything is possible. It wouldn't be unreasonable to say that one could use historical analysis to see where film is going based on cultural events. Just try not to read too much into it. Film always goes where it pleases, and probably always will. Most importantly, you need to think like a historian at all times, trust your judgments, and believe in yourself. The knowledge you received in a push from Mr. Hefter will always be there to guide you. And so will I.